The best way to wash your pillows and the shocking story behind it. Meet Margaret, a 68-year-old woman from Vermont. Last winter, she woke up one morning, looked at her pillow, and froze. Something was off. The discoloration? Sure. The smell? Definitely. But what scared her was the thought that something inside that pillow might be slowly messing with her sleep, her allergies, even her breathing. And when she finally cut open her oldest pillow, she found something that made her rethink everything she knew about clean. Stick with me because once you hear what happened next, you'll never ignore your pillows again. The moment that started all Margaret had been waking up with a tight chest for weeks. She blamed age. She blamed winter dryness. She blamed everything except the one thing she trusted every night, her pillow. One afternoon, sunlight hit her pillow at just the right angle, and she saw a faint cloud puff into the air when she pushed it. She stopped. What was that? That moment hooked her curiosity, and this is where everything spirals. The discovery. Margaret called her daughter, a nurse, who asked a simple question that most people never think about. When was the last time you washed it? Margaret went silent. 40 years of homemaking, and she had never washed a single pillow. Pillowcases? Always? Pillows? Never. While researching, she found a study from the University of Manchester. Older pillows can hold millions of fungal spores and clusters of dust mites that feed on skin flakes. Exactly the kind of thing that could trigger chest tightness. Instead of panicking, she grabbed scissors and sliced open her oldest pillow, and when she saw the yellowed clumps inside, she made a promise. This ends today. The experiment begins. She lined up all 5 of her pillows like she was preparing for battle. But the real twist? She didn't know how to wash them, and every article online gave different advice. So she decided to do what any stubborn, sharp, 68-year-old woman would do. Test everything herself. Step 1. The float test. Margaret filled her bathtub and tossed in a pillow. It floated stiff at the top. Not a good sign. That's a classic indicator of trapped oils and compacted fibers, the kind that block airflow and create that stale pillow smell. So she kept going. Step 2. The science behind cleaning. She learned one crucial fact. Pillows don't get clean with detergent alone. Body oils are hydrophobic. They cling to fibers. To break them down, you need warm water, not hot. Hot can clump filling. Detergent, a tablespoon of baking soda, a splash of white vinegar. This combo dismantles oils, odors, and build up without damaging the pillow. Margaret wasn't convinced. She needed proof. Step 3. The first wash. She placed 2 pillows in her washing machine, set it to warm, added her secret mix, and pressed start. She watched through the glass like she was monitoring a spaceship launch. Halfway through, she saw the water turn slightly yellowish. That's when she muttered, "Okay, that's horrifying." But she was hooked. If the water looked like that, what were her other pillows hiding? Step 4. The drying trick. Clean wasn't enough. Pillows need to dry right, or they grow mold. She tossed them into the dryer, added 2 clean tennis balls and socks, and waited. Every thump from the dryer felt like a countdown. Would the pillows fluff back up, or collapse into sad pancakes? When the dryer beeped, she pulled them out, and they were fuller than they'd been in years. She laughed. "I should have done this decades ago." But the story wasn't over. The unexpected twist. After washing for pillows, she picked up the 5th, the pillow she'd had the longest. This one felt heavier, denser, almost damp inside. She hesitated. Should she wash it, or throw it away? Curiosity won. When the wash cycle finished, she opened the lid and froze. The pillow had practically fallen apart inside the washer. The filling was darkened, sticky, and clumped into chunks. That was the moment she realized, not all pillows are worth saving. Some are long overdue for retirement. The final result. By the end of the day, Margaret replaced 2 pillows, revived 3, and swore she'd never let them go unwashed again. And here's the kicker. After the first night sleeping on the freshly cleaned pillows, she woke up without chest tightness for the first time in weeks. She didn't need new medicine. She just needed clean pillows. The takeaway. If a 68-year-old woman from Vermont can transform her sleep with one cleaning routine, so can you. Wash your pillows every 3 for months. Replace them every 1 to 2 years if they fail the float test or smell even a bit off. And always use the cleaning combo that actually works. Margaret's story is your reminder. Better sleep doesn't always require big changes. Sometimes it starts with something small, something you rest your head on every night. The part where things get real. After her horrifying 5th pillow incident, Margaret realized something she wished she'd known years earlier. Every pillow in her house was telling a story. And none of those stories were good. So she did something bold. She grabbed a notebook and wrote down everything she wanted to fix. Air quality, allergies, morning headaches, her sleep cycle, her entire bedroom environment. This wasn't just a pillow mission anymore. This was a full-scale cleanup operation. The bedroom air test. Margaret borrowed a small indoor air monitor from her neighbor, a device that measures tiny particles floating in the air. The numbers spiked the moment she plopped her unwashed last pillow on the bed. She narrowed her eyes. No way a pillow is doing all of this. But it was. Decades of skin cells, oils, dust mite debris, and deep stuck moisture were rising into the air every time she moved. She didn't panic. She got motivated. The deep dive into the science. Margaret sat on her freshly washed bed, glasses sliding down her nose, typing into her laptop like a detective. She learned something disturbing and fascinating. A pillow doubles its weight over time because it absorbs oil and skin. Dust mites thrive in warm, humid, unwashed pillows. Old synthetic pillows trap moisture and become ideal environments for fungus. And the worst one, some pillows contain up to 16 species of fungi after a few years. She stared at her screen like she'd uncovered a crime scene. And now she wasn't just washing pillows. She was on a mission to beat the entire ecosystem living inside them. The revival of the oldest pillow. There was one more pillow she hadn't touched yet. The one with sentimental value. The one her late husband used years ago. She held it carefully, almost like a memory. But memories don't stop mold. She whispered, "All right, one last chance," and carried it to the laundry room. This time she tried a different method, something she read on a U.S. Home Science Forum. The double soak technique. First soak, warm water plus detergent for 30 minutes. Second soak, warm water plus vinegar plus baking soda plus a teaspoon of borax. She placed the pillow in the tub. The water turned murky faster than any other pillow before it. Halfway through, she thought about giving up. This pillow meant something to her, but she kept going. When she finally rinsed it and lifted it out, the water ran clear. For a moment, she felt something loosen in her chest, not physically, but emotionally. This wasn't pillow washing anymore. It was closure, the drying room transformation. She didn't want to risk mold, so she created a makeshift drying room using a box fan, a dehumidifier, sunlight from her window, and patience, which she claimed she didn't have, but clearly she did. She positioned each pillow carefully, rotating them every 20 minutes. It felt oddly therapeutic, like tending to something that had been ignored for years. And as the room filled with the clean scent of freshly dried fabric, she realized something powerful. Her home had felt heavy for months. Now it felt lighter. The nighttime test. That night she didn't just go to bed. She climbed into a new world. Clean pillows, fresh sheets, crisp air, a sense of calm she hadn't felt in years. She lay down slowly, like she wasn't fully convinced the experience was real. She closed her eyes. 10 seconds later, she opened them again, shocked. Her breathing felt easier. The tightness was gone. Her chest expanded with a fullness she hadn't felt in a long time. This was the moment she knew the story wasn't finishing. It was just shifting gears. And the next morning, that's when everything changed. The morning that proved everything. Margaret woke before sunrise, not to cough, not to adjust her pillow, not because of discomfort, but because her body felt rested, something she hadn't experienced in months. She sat up slowly, almost suspicious of how good she felt. No tight chest, no pressure around her eyes, no scratchy throat. She looked at her freshly revived pillows lined up behind her and smirked. If I knew it was this easy, I would have done it 20 years ago. But her day was just getting started, and she was about to learn something that would flip her understanding of pillow hygiene upside down. The unexpected phone call that same morning. Her daughter, the nurse, called to check on her. "How's your breathing today?" Margaret laughed. "Better than yours, probably." Her daughter didn't joke back. Instead, she said something that made Margaret freeze. "Mom, you know pillow hygiene is one of the biggest hidden triggers for poor sleep in older adults, right? People think it's aging, but half the time, it's their bedding." That hit Margaret harder than she expected. If she had known this earlier, she might have avoided years of restless nights. This wasn't just cleaning, this was prevention. And she wanted answers. The quest for the truth determined. She drove to the local library, yes, the same one she'd visited for decades, and headed straight to the home science section. She found a book written by an American sleep researcher. Inside was a chapter titled, "Your Pillow is Older Than You Think." The key points stunned her. Pillows collect more bacteria than a kitchen sink. Sweat salts stiffen fibers. reducing neck support. Old pillows can raise nighttime allergy levels by up to 30%. People over 60 often misinterpret pillow-triggered symptoms as aging issues. Margaret closed the book slowly. This wasn't a small cleaning job. This was a missed piece of health education. She grabbed the book, checked it out, and walked out like she had just uncovered classified information. The pillow replacement plan. Back home, Margaret did something most people never do. She created a schedule, a real organized, no excuses calendar for pillow maintenance. Her rules: wash every 12 weeks, deep soak every 6 months, replace synthetic pillows every 18 months, replace feather pillows every 2 to 3 years, never ignore discoloration, smell, or weight changes. She even wrote, if it floats stiff, it's done. A reminder of that haunting bathtub moment. It wasn't about being tidy. It was about taking control of her health finally. The surprise visitor that evening, her neighbor Linda, stopped by to return the air monitor. One look at Margaret's now fluffed, clean pillows and bedroom setup, and she raised an eyebrow. What did you do in here? It smells like fresh air and discipline. Margaret laughed, the first real, carefree laugh she'd had in weeks, and told her the entire story. By the end, Linda stood there with her hands on her hips. Well, now I have to go wash mine. Thanks a lot. Margaret didn't realize it yet, but she had just started a neighborhood revolution. The final test and the warning sign that night, she tried something new. She placed the air monitor next to her bed again. Before cleaning, numbers were in the red zone. Not dangerous, just dirty enough to ruin sleep quality. Now, the numbers were so low, she tapped the device twice to make sure it wasn't malfunctioning. Then, as she reached over to turn off the lamp, she noticed something about one of her older pillows, a small, faint dark spot spreading near the seam. Her stomach dropped. Not again. She leaned closer. It wasn't dirt. It wasn't fungus. It was something else, and it meant she needed to take the pillow situation even further than she imagined. This is where the real twist begins. The final scene, the hidden danger. Margaret grabbed the pillow with the spreading dark spot and marched it straight to the brightest corner of her kitchen. She pressed the seam with her thumbs. A tiny puff escaped, not dust, not moisture, but a thin trail of broken down foam. Her eyes narrowed. This wasn't grime. This was chemical breakdown, the kind that happens when pillows get too old and their inner materials start collapsing. She remembered reading one line in the sleep research book. Once foam begins to break down, the pillow becomes unpredictable, less support, more inhalable particles. That was it for her. No hesitation, no second chances. She tossed the pillow straight into a trash bag, tied it tight, and dropped it outside like she was taking out a villain. Standing on her porch, cold air on her face, she felt powerful. Not because she washed some pillows, but because she finally understood that tiny routines can guard your health more than most people believe. She looked back at her room through the window. Clean air, clean pillows, clean sleep. For the first time in a long time, she felt in control of her nights again. And that's where her story closes and yours begins. Now listen, if Margaret, a 68-year-old woman from Vermont, can take back her sleep with nothing more than determination, a washing machine, and a little science, then you're out of excuses. Your pillow is either helping you or holding you back. There's no middle ground. If you don't remember the last time you washed it, wash it today. If it smells off, replace it. If it fails the float test, feels heavy, or looks like it's lived a harder life than you have, it's done. Your sleep quality is not just aging, not just stress, not just life. Sometimes the real problem is right under your head, every single night. So do what Margaret did. Check your pillows, clean them right, upgrade the ones that are gone, and stop giving your health away to dust, oil, and neglect. Because once you sleep on a pillow that's actually clean, you'll never, ever go back.